What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with a Raid Shadow Legends video, and we're going to be talking about the new duplicate champion solution preview that Plarium put out earlier today. This is something that's a very hot topic in the community right now, but I kind of wanted to take most of the day to just sort of digest it, watch the video they showed a couple times, look at the features a little bit before I jumped in to give my opinion on this. I noticed a lot of people are actually pretty happy with the system, which is kind of confusing to me, but it's just interesting. I guess the expectations were so low that no matter what came out was going to be a good fix for this problem. I have kind of mixed feelings on this. Overall, I'm not a massive fan of the system. I'll go ahead and just get that out of the way right now. I know a lot of people are liking it, and you're, of course, entitled to your opinion. And if you like it, that's cool. I'm going to kind of go over some of the reasons I think there's some worrying things in here and some things I think a lot of people are missing when they're going over the system. But first, I wanted to throw out a couple of disclaimers. Number one, obviously some of the information could change before this actually comes out. This was just a preview video that they did show us, and some of the numbers might be tweaked before it gets released. Some of the information in it might change before it gets released. Obviously, if they tell us any of that in the content program, I'll let you know that. The other thing too is I did specifically ask after this initially came out in the content creator chat, I specifically asked, will new content in this game be balanced around the assumption that people are going to have the empowered champions, which we'll go over in a minute. But it's basically like you're going to have a chance to make your duplicate legendary champions into stronger champions, like through an enhancement system, empowerment system. And they did say yes. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind, that future content in the game, Doom Tower bosses, whatever they decide to bring in, is going to be based on the assumption people are going to have these stronger champions to clear the content. So don't be surprised if we see more stuff like Bommel the Dreadhorn coming into the game with them just assuming you're going to have champions empowered to be able to deal with that. So that aside, let's go ahead and just jump into it. I'm not going to make you guys watch the video again. I'm just going to put up some screenshots here and there about some of the main features. The first bit of it is basically that the sparring pit is being redesigned into the Guardian Ring, which is now going to have a couple different menus where you will be able to do things with your duplicate champions. And the first spot is going to be the Faction Guardians, which you're basically going to have a spot for each faction, almost like a miniature vault, where you can go ahead and put your duplicates into these slots for each different factions. So it's kind of an interesting little system they did here. They did say, we're going to be doing, 3 separate solutions, which we think will help people throughout all areas of the game, which is something I don't particularly agree with on some points here. But you basically are going to have HP, attack, accuracy, resistance, defense, and speed that you're going to be able to boost with duplicates, mainly your legendaries, but then also your epics and also your rares. Now keep in mind for this, if you're doing it with the rares, it's only going to boost those stats on your rare champions in that faction. If you're doing it on the epics, it's only going to boost the stats for the epics in that faction. And if you're doing it with the legendaries, it's only going to boost the stats for the legendaries in that faction. So it's going to be faction specific and also rarity specific for whenever you're putting those in. Now, interestingly enough, plus 10 speed is the last one, and that's the one I think a lot of people who are somewhat critical of this system are looking at, because that is going to be a pretty big thing for the top end of Arena, and not just in Classic Arena, which is what most people have been focusing on, just talking about Platinum, but also in 3v3 Arena. And I'll talk about why here in just a minute. But the one thing I'm seeing a lot of people saying is this is going to really help out free-to-play, low spend, and the newer players to the game, really help them compete and clear through content. But I actually don't think it will. The main reason being is that your free-to-play, your low-spend, newer players are just simply not going to have a lot of legendary duplicates, if any at all. So they're not going to be able to take advantage of that part of the system. Now, when it comes to epic champions, if you're a low-spend, free-to-play player and you're pulling an epic duplicate, usually you're going to use them as a book, because epic books in this game are really difficult to come by, especially if you're coming up through the early stages of the game, or you might even use them as a 4-star chicken. I mean, let's say you get a bad epic duplicate and you've got a champion you really want to bring up from 40 to 50, you may just use it as a 4-star chicken. Same thing kind of applies to rares. Rare books are also a little bit hard to find in the game. Obviously, early on, you get a lot from challenges and missions, and also now you can get them from the clan shop. But most of your low spend and free-to-play players are not going to be keeping duplicate rares and epics. They would be using those for progression to build up their champion roster, to build up their champion skills so they could actually clear content that way. And I don't think these stat boosts are really, 7 accuracy, what is that? That's a glyph, basically. So I don't really think it helps those players that they intended to help. I think this is basically, like most of the rest of the system, is going to just help in-game players who have a lot of legendary duplicates, maybe some mid-game players that have them. But I really don't think this is going to help free-to-play or low-spend at all, because the value of a duplicate champion on that type of account is better off as a book than it is putting it into this faction guardian system. The other thing a lot of people have not mentioned, I haven't seen really anybody talk about this, is if you're going to be needing all of these duplicates across these factions now, I mean, just think about the number of duplicates you're going to need per faction, and then how many factions are in this game. You're going to need a lot more vault space, which Plarium is not going to give you that vault space. You guys all know every time they extend the vault, you have to then spend a bunch of gems or a bunch of silver. And the more slots you unlock, the higher you get into that unlock for those tiers in your vault, the more expensive it gets. And most free-to-play and low-spend are not going to want to be wasting all their gems and all their silver that they would be using for upgrading gear to unlock more vault space. So I just don't think this first little faction guardian bit is going to be quite as useful as a lot of people are saying it is. That's my biggest takeaway. Now, some people are saying, stats are not a big deal. They're like, 10 speed's not going to really matter in Arena. But you have to keep in mind, at the top end of Arena, when speed packs come out, and we're talking like the $50, $60 speed packs they put out in the store, you've got top-end Arena players spending $300+ every single time those packs are in the shop, just hoping to get a +1 or a +2 speed that they can add onto a champion. It gets really difficult the higher up you are in the game to get more speed on your champions. I think my Arbiter right now is like at 380 speed, or close to it, and she's been there for probably 2 months. No matter how much speed gear I farm, no matter if I buy a speed pack in the shop, I simply cannot get speed rolls to get her 1 more speed or 2 more speed. So adding 10 speed when you get to that level of the game is huge. People pay big money to get not even 10 speed. So now talking about being able to put that onto your champions through the legendary duplicates is going to be a massive benefit to top-end whales, top-end arena players who have a lot of legendary duplicates. And that is going to have a trickle-down effect. A lot of people don't think it will. They're like, oh, well, it's only Platinum you have to worry about. No, because eventually those teams that were in Platinum are going to get pushed down into Gold 4, and then they're going to push all those Gold 4 teams out that are in there now. And we're going to go back to having an arena system like it was a few months ago when you're up in Gold 1, Gold 2, and every single team is a 350 speed Arbiter lead in Gold 1, and you can't get your Arbiter missions done. You can't get the Gold 4. You can't get your Great Hall level 10 bonus done anymore because you can't get the gold medals. So I'm just kind of concerned that's going to be a problem with this part of the system. Now we're going to move on to what I actually have the worst opinion of that they're doing here, and that is the champion empowerment, where they're going to allow you to take your duplicate legendaries and basically fuse them into one main legendary to make it a +4. So kind of like an extra ascension system. I guess this would work kind of like the Red Stars on Marvel Strike Force, or even the Relic system on Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. So you're going to get stat boosts for your champion. Now, unfortunately, they did not go over what any of the stat boosts are, so it's all kind of up in the air of actually how good this system will be. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably going to be a pretty good system and benefit, again, the whales who have all these legendary copies. And I'm saying this as someone who on day 1, based on what they showed, I can have a +4 Lydia basically the first day they implement this, but I still think it's a bad system. And the way they're going to do this is you have champions also like Lydia, Ramontu, etc., who you don't really have duplicates of those because they're only available to get once in the game. So what they said they're going to do is they're going to assign a legendary champion in each faction that they will be able to fuse into those. And for Lydia, they showed Visik, so I'm assuming it's Void for Void. So kind of the funny thing is if they do that for Ramontu, the only way you're going to be able to empower your Ramontu is if you feed him a Krisk, which I don't think anyone's going to do that. But yeah, so far, everybody that I've seen that's really, really happy about the empowerment system are basically the top-end Platinum whales, the top-end Platinum arena players. They're all thrilled because a lot of those guys have spent tens of thousands of dollars on this game. They've got multiple copies of all the Void meta legendaries, multiple copies of Rhodos, of Siphi, of Necrit, etc., etc. So they're all very excited about this system because it's going to allow them to maintain the status quo and stay at the top of the arena. And so like I was saying before, this update to me really just benefits the big spenders in this game. It really just benefits the people who are going to have the ability to get all these duplicate legendaries, and those are always going to be your big spenders and your whales. So it simply increases the divide between those players and basically everybody else. A lot of people will say, well, who cares, let the whales whale, which, yeah, I get it. The game's going to make money. Whales keep the game alive for free to play, and that's cool. But I just think there's going to be a trickle-down effect of this in any of the arena content, especially 3v3, because I see people in Silver 1 and 2 who have teams full of duplicate legendaries. It's absolutely crazy. You'll see a 4 Duchess defense team in Silver 2. It's crazy. So this is going to affect people even though they don't think it will. A lot of people trying to climb through those 3v3 ranks, especially now that they've added missions in that for the game. So I just don't see it as being a good thing. I think the empowerment is the worst part of this entire update that they're going to be putting into the game. They said they're going to be listening to feedback, but I just don't see them taking this out. I think this benefits the whales so much. It's going to make them very happy, and it's going to make them a lot of money. And that's the thing you really have to reconsider with Plarium, is they're not going to put a system in this game that doesn't make them a profit somehow. So this is not a system designed to help lower tier players, lower spend players, free-to-play players. This is a system that's going to basically benefit the people who spend a ton of money on the game. So that's my thoughts on empowerment. I think it's a bad idea. I really kind of wish they hadn't done this, but it's something they said they didn't really want to do stat boost, but then they decided to do stat boost. So it's kind of interesting how they consider that. But let's move on to the final part of this, which is going to be the token system, where you can exchange your duplicate legendaries and get these things they're going to call life tokens. I believe Cirilla in the video said you will get 1 life token per legendary that you turn in, and then they're going to have a new shop, which is going to be the token trader, which is going to have legendary champions available to purchase with those tokens. However, the big catch here is they are going to be rating these legendary champions in the shop based on their power in the game and how good they are, and they're going to be more than 1 token. I will almost be willing to bet you're not going to get an equal exchange for your value. It's not going to respect the legendary that you're turning in. To get that, you're only going to get 1 token, but now Manaya might cost 4 tokens. Sir Nicholas might cost 6 tokens. Foldy might cost 3 tokens. You never know. But I don't think this is going to be a good value system for what you're trading in. So it'll be interesting to see when this comes out what the values are for the champions you can buy in the token trader. And I'm just going off Plarium's track record. I don't think this is not going to benefit the player. It's not going to benefit the player at all. It's going to be something where you're going to probably need between 4 and 10 tokens, I would say, to buy the legendary in the shop, depending on what it is, which I don't know if that's a fair trade or not. I don't know if you can do a duplicate legendary system that will actually give players their real value in this game. It's just so hard because sacred shards are usually priced about $30 a piece. And so if you pull that legendary and you want to trade it in, you almost expect to get the value back that you gave. So it's like if you trade in a legendary, you almost want to get a legendary back for that instead of having to trade in 3 or 4. So we'll see how it works out. The token system is actually the only part of this thing I really like, because I think it's the only system that's not going to affect the game in a negative way in certain areas, mainly being arena and 3v3. So I think that was the only part of the system I really thought was good, but it could still be tweaked quite a bit. But overall, I'm just not a fan of anything they've put in here, really. And I know that's going to be a negative opinion, but I think everybody is just being so positive about this. It really surprised me, and I think a lot of people are missing some of the problems with this update. And basically, the main thing that I'm worried about is this basically changes the fundamental type of game that Raid is. Raid is basically a game where you want to collect powerful champions, you want to put them together in these teams and do the content. But now, instead of the game being about just getting that one champion you really want, it's going to be about getting that one champion you really want and then 4 more or even more than that of that same champion, so you can empower them and make them +4, or so you can build up this faction guardian system. So this directly, I think, goes into, again, they're going to want to make a ton of money on this. People are going to be buying more shard packs because now you're going to want duplicates. This is going to be kind of like Rage of Destiny, where you actually do want duplicate champions, so you can feed them together. Actually, Rage of Destiny basically uses this system where the more duplicates you have, the more powerful your champion is, because you feed them into each other to make stronger champions. So they're basically combining all these different aspects of different gacha games now and probably going to try to get a bunch of money out of this. And I guarantee you they're going to sell a ton of shard packs off this. You're probably going to see new events. They'll be running more 2Xs and 10Xs at the same time, so you can pull your ancient shards and hope that you get duplicates out of those. They'll probably even come up with new events that are going to give you a better chance of getting duplicates. And that's all I think this is going to do, is make them more money. It's designed to influence people buying more shards. And that, again, kind of plays into what a lot of the content creators do, is they do all these, oh, we pulled 1,000 sacred shards this weekend, and, they give Plarium all that, free advertising and all that free dopamine that other people see, and then they want to buy these shard packs. And I think that's what this game is going to wind up becoming. It's just going to be a whale war at the end, and that's going to really have negative effects, I think, on the arena systems in the game, and just overall the direction the game is going to go in. So would be really interested to hear what you guys think about this. Obviously, like I said, if you like the system, that's great. Let me know what you think is good about it. If you don't like the system, let me know what you don't like about it. As always, I try to take your guys' feedback into the content creator chat. Let Plarium know what people are thinking about. Doesn't usually make any difference, but we at least have to try to get our voice out there. I personally am not a fan of the system. I think they need to go back to the drawing board. But I think at this point, it's been so long, 2 years or so, that people have been asking for this, and now that it's finally here, people I think they're just happy it wasn't really terrible. So I guess they're just willing to put up with this. I think a lot of people are just so tired of Plarium after the last couple of weeks, where you've had all the negativity from Uragrim and from Geomancer, from them taking away the Sacred Shard, taking away the 5-star chicken out of the login rewards. There's just been so much bad news, I think, that people were just like, oh, this isn't super terrible bad news, so it's good, it's great, it's amazing. And I don't know, I think people are being a little bit too positive about these changes in the system that's coming in, but I can kind of understand why. I just personally, below the surface, I see a lot of problems that could arise from the systems that they're going to put into the game with these duplicates and whatnot. So, like I said, let me know what you think down below. That's going to do it for this video, guys. As always, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.